Slapback delay. It's one of those effects that are very commonly overlooked. It's essentially putting a very short delay onto an instrument, oftentimes rappers' vocals, and it'll create a sense of present that EQ and compression have a hard time emulating. It's a very subtle effect that a lot of people won't even notice, but when you compare a vocal without slapback delay and with slapback delay, it does create a sense of depth and it does add a certain characteristic to the vocal. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that on the screen today. It's a very simple, quick video that will show you how to create an authentic sounding slapback delay. Alright, so here I got a session pulled up. It's the Ready for War session from Nolan Santo. This is another project in the making. It's a pretty simple layout, simple as it gets essentially. This is just a 2-track, it's a main vocal and a small harmony part right here. Then I just have a reverb bus and a delay bus and then the master channel. So it's very easy to read session. Everything's just essentially laid out in front of you. I've already done the labor of chopping out the silence, so it's nice and clean. We'll be able to hear the slapback delay very easily. So right now I'm just going to play the beginning of the record for you without any slapback delay or delay on the main vocal at all. There is delay on this harmony part, but I'm probably not even going to play up to there. Take a listen to it with just the vocal processing. Note that on this Red 17 EQ there is some overdrive, purposeful overdrive on there. And then this send to the analog bus 3/4 is my reverb, so there is reverb on there as well. There is no delay in any sort on this as of right now. We'll go get into that right after I'm done playing this for you, so take a listen.
Just know I've been ready for war if they come for me. I stare at some faces and know there's no love to see. The homies know I started out from the underneath, and I'ma make sure that they all living comfortably. What more do they want from me? I got a shit ton of weight that I hold on my back. Try keep my shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again.
So right off the bat you can see that it's a pretty the song flows for itself. There is, to me, a small missing characteristic, a little bit of texture in the vocal, and that, to me, would be that slapback delay. I'm going to show you 2 instances of it using 2 different plugins. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to use it as an insert effect, even though I usually like to do time-based things as send effects. But we're just going to go right into here. We're going to go into delay. And we're going to bring up the J37 tape emulator from Waves. It's literally for this, all I do is adjust one knob. You could see here the delay is already on slapback, so that's essentially done for me already. I could switch between having a standard feedback and slapback. Then I also have a sync or a millisecond time bass, and then I have my level. Everything to the left of this delay and then this delay parameter I essentially don't have to worry about. I can add some saturation into it, tape saturation, but since I'm already using that Red 17 plugin for some of that distortion effect, I'm not even going to touch that. So to start off, as I said in the beginning of this video, it's a very simple effect. I'm just going to solo out the main vocal, and I'm going to play it for you, and I'm going to dial it in. I'm not even going to go based on a time grid just because I think slapback delay sounds a little bit better when it's not in a time grid. The second plugin that I show you, I will be using a time grid just so you could tell the difference. So let's just dial in some of this slapback delay and we'll take a listen.
Just know I've been ready for war if they come for me. I stare at some faces and know there's no love to see. The homies know I started out from the underneath, and I'ma make sure that they all living comfortably. What more do they want from me? I got a shit ton of weight that I hold on my back. Try keep my shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again. The question ain't if, man, it's when. Hey, every day I see the same shit. Riding a wave on the same.
So you could tell a pretty big difference. It is one thing to point out that you generally hear slapback delay a little bit better when it's soloed out. Once this beat kicks in, it'll essentially kind of block out some of those lower volume delays, but it still does give you that depth perception, and it kind of settles the vocal into the mix a little bit. One other thing that I like to do in this aspect is I like to just dial in a little bit of a high pass, and I just dial this up to taste, so I play the vocal through and then I dial it in. This isn't even really too necessary. I think that most people probably won't even be able to tell the difference, but it's sort of a thing that I've come to do, and it's just what I've been practicing. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now.
What more do they want from me? I got a shit ton of weight that I hold on my back. Try keep my shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again. The question ain't if, man, it's when. Hey, every day I see the same shit. Riding a wave on the same ship. I'm on the way to see greatness. I don't know what I became. Either way, I'm not ashamed. I just don't know where they lost me.
All right, so now we'll take a listen with the slapback delay using the J37, as well as activating this reverb bus because it was muted the entire time. So we're going to just go ahead and take a listen to this, and then I'll bypass the delay, and then I'll kick in the beat after a couple bars.
Just know I've been ready for war if they come for me. I stare at some faces and know there's no love to see. The homies know I started out from the underneath, and I'ma make sure that they all living comfortably. What more do they want from me? I got a shit ton of weight that I hold on my back. Try keep my shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again.
So right off the bat, you could tell the difference. The reverb also tends to glue the slapback and the main vocal together a little bit more. So that's one thing to take into consideration. You're able to see that I actually turned the level up a little bit on the J37 while I was playing that back, just because I thought that the reverb glued it together a little bit too much. So the next thing I'm going to show you is using it as a send effect. I'm going to be using the H delay from Waves. So I'm going to go ahead and just, for the time being, just drop this down to something like a 16th note. Now, we're already at 110 BPM, so 16th note is going to be pretty quick. We might have to dial some adjustments in, maybe drop it down even faster. But for the time being, we'll leave it at that, and then we'll set up our send signal to analog bus 5.6. The name of your buses will be different depending on your I/O settings. So I'm just going to solo this out again, and I'm just going to dial in this send fader until we have an appropriate amount of slapback delay. I'm also going to bypass the J37.
Comfortably, what more do they want from me? I got a shit ton of weight that I hold on my back. Try keep my shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again. The question ain't if, man, it's when. Hey,
so you could hear the feedback on this particular particular delay is much longer than the J37. There's a feedback dial that we actually have control of, so we could even duck that down. I think it might be a little bit too long. Another cool thing that you could do to kind of widen out vocals is you could turn the ping pong option on. Let me play that for you so you could hear it, the stereo width of it change. I'm going to start with a bypass and then I'll click it on.
shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again. The question ain't if, man, it's when.
Cool. So right off the bat, you could definitely tell a difference. And then we could go back to these filters and we could just dial in this high pass. I usually find right about 9 o'clock tends to be the sweet spot, but definitely tune it in to your liking. It's different for every single vocal you'll use. So be sure to check that out. I'm going to turn the ping pong off again, and I'm just going to get this right, and then I'll go ahead and turn the beat on.
And I'ma make sure that they all living comfortably. What more do they want from me? I got a shit ton of weight that I hold on my back. Try keep my shoulders intact. Only way out is if goals on my plaques. They ain't shit holding us back. Time to attack. Tell them the chosen one's risen again. Constantly giving again. Trapped in the bars of his prisoner's pen. Paying a visit again. The question ain't if, man, it's when. Every day I see the same shit. Riding a wave on the same ship. I'm on the way to see greatness. I don't know what I became. Either way, I'm not ashamed. I just don't know where they lost me. Tell them boys to get up off me. Just know I've been ready for war if they come for me. Stare at some faces and know there's no love to see. The homies know I started out from the underneath. And I'ma make sure that they all live in comfort.